Hi, it's Jessi. This is part 4 of my reading diary for Deadhouse Gates. I kind of accidentally took a break from YouTube in the middle of doing this recording for the series, and it was a long time before I got to editing them. So I don't know if I have all the footage for this. It's a little disjointed, and I don't remember it enough to be like, well, that's intentional or whatever. So you're just going to kind of have to follow along with what I have. I have not found any more Deadhouse Gates content in any of the places I keep videos saved. So if it exists, I don't know where it is. That said, this is part 4. This is the final part of Deadhouse Gates. Check the playlist to see my thoughts on Malazan up to this point, and enjoy. I'm sorry I keep filming on my couch, but like, after a whole day of work, the last thing I want to do is rearrange some furniture to film a clip for a video. Anyway, this is through chapter 17. I think this is 3 chapters. The book's over there. You know what I'm talking about. I think this was 3 chapters, but I also just don't have a lot to say. I again took such a long break. I really need to figure out how to read Malazan without it being don't read anything for a week and a half, then read 100 pages in one sitting. Because that seems to be the vibe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really hoping I can like just stick it out through to the ending, because I'm pretty sure I can't renew this book anymore. And I've been reading it all summer. It's been like 3 months. Anyway, all of that aside, 3 chapters, but not a lot to say. Let's start with who the hell is Salky Land? See, this is exactly where Erikson loses me. He brings in this brand new character and just acts like the reader should know who he is. And then I definitely haven't seen him before. Have I seen Sakilan before? I don't think I have. If I have, please let me know below. But like, I really don't remember this character before this moment that he's introduced on the boat with Kalam. Felicin wants to become Shaikh. I don't foresee this going well. I don't like that we have like 3 women in this book and 2 of them are being set to oppose each other. But I do like Felicin choosing a more active role for herself, becoming more active and less just passive, reactive character. I really like her just like stepping up and being like, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull it off. Don't like that it's going to set her up against Apsalar though. Not sure how I'm going to like seeing those 2 clash. Still putting up with Diker, but I'm happy that he met up with Gessler and the Marines. Like, that was fun for the like half a chapter they were together. I really need more of the Marines. I need more Gessler. I need more Stormy. Ugh, I need them. Felicin, honey, I have forgiven you much, but threatening Haboric is hard to ignore, even if you knew he was safe the whole time. I don't know when I started to like Haboric. I think I liked him at the beginning, and then I started hating him, and then I started liking him again. I don't like his interactions with Felicin, but I like him as a character, I think is where I'm at. And I don't like Felicin putting his life on the line. This whole book thing, I think that was the book. Was that the book? When she was like, hey, you open the book. And he was like, no. She's playing a dangerous game. Ascendancy really confuses me. Can it just anyone ascend? Is there a process? Is it some nebulous if you are great thing? Like, is it akin to like becoming a hero of the Horn in Wheel of Time, where just like in theory anybody could, they just have to do something heroic and great? Like, is it that? Does it have to be like positive? Do you have to work for a certain does it have to do with the gods that we don't really know that much about, other than that they exist? I mean, I know, like, so is it like you ascend if a god deems you worthy? What is ascendancy? Because at this point, like, what are the Marines, Gessler's group is ascending, but like, I don't really know why. Like, what do they do to deserve that? Is Kalam also? Kalam wasn't the one traveling with it. The ones traveling with him, Felicin and them, are they also going to ascend? I don't know what this means. Oh, goody. Mappo and Akarium once again breaking my heart. I don't understand what's going on with Akarium, but every time he brings up it's just sad. Here you go. Not nearly enough time with Gessler, SMH. I love them. Every time I refer to Steven Erikson as anything other than Erikson in my notes, just gets me when I read it back. I'm going to read this quote for word for y'all. Stevie is really trying to convince me that butterflies are ominous. And sure, they can be creepy, but I'm going to keep picturing this whole Diker sequence as a Lisa Frank coloring page. That would be Diker going through these like mud flats, and it's like full of butterflies. And I had, for the record, in real life, seen like a field of butterflies, and it is a little creepy. But I'm choosing to ignore that in the favor of neon colors and pretending it's the 90s. I feel like I could have really liked Salkilan if he had a slightly different tone to his voice in the audiobook. So the audiobook narrator plays him very dry, like very straight. But he has these jokes, and I think he'd be really funny if the narrator just gave like a little hint of that in his voice. Like, I don't know. I just need like the hint that he's like smiling on the inside when he says some stuff. The whole pirate side story that Kalam is in is fun, but I don't really get what the point of it is. Like, how does this whole boat shenanigan connect with the whirlwind? What does that have to do with anything? Did Felician really manage to become Shaik just by sheer will alone? Like, I was convinced that Absalar was Shaik reborn, right? Like, I was like 100% certain of this. But Felician is making me doubt, and I can't tell if she's pulling off a very clever ploy. Ploy? Is that a word? I've never heard it out loud. Plot? You know, she's doing something, 4D chess here. Or if somehow she actually did become Shaik. And both options are fantastic, really. Like, good for her. I really like Felician. I really like Felician. What's her name following Kalam, the sister-in-law of the guy, where has she been in this whole mess? I was literally typing this note, and then we get to the end of chapter 17, where Kalam and Ilan have this like weird interaction at the end where he's like, Kalam's like, I'm not alone as you think I am, or something like that. So I'm guessing that was referring to her. And I mean, I guess good on Erikson that I just like I didn't forget about her. There was like moments it popped into my mind, like, shouldn't she be here? Shouldn't she be here? But it didn't really get to the point of like, where is she? Until right before there's a little hint. I think that's very clever writing. And that's my thoughts so far. I will keep reading. I will update you. Hoping by the end of the week, if I keep reading on the train. But I gotta be honest with you, I'm so tired on the train. So we'll see. Love y'all. I don't know why I'm saying bye. This is the middle of the video. See you in a second. Let's talk some more. I just finished, I think it was chapter 20. Yeah, just finished chapter 20. This fourth part's really long. And this book is due literally tomorrow. I'm not going to finish it before then. Oh my God, I'm doing just all sorts of damage to this poor little library book. I think I need a book sleeve. Anyway, sorry, I'm chaotic today, apparently. So I've read through chapter 20, which I believe is 3 chapters again. So let's go ahead and talk through some of my thoughts on these. Aquarium makes me really, really sad. So if I understand everything right, like thousands of years ago, Aquarium like murdered some paradise city, right? There was like some city that everything was like fine at, good, everything was great. Maybe, I'm not so sure about the paradise part. But then Aquarium just like went genocide mode and killed them all. And now he has his memory removed, and he's set a guardian that's supposed to guide him to this place for him to get punished. But every time he ends up getting his memory back and killing the guardian first, right? And then this lady shows up and like takes his memory away and appoints a new guardian. That's his vibe, right? And now he's got Mappo, and he's remembering, but also he's like, but I want to do good. I deserve this punishment if this is who I really am. And it's just, it makes me sad. Like, here's my honest theory though. The priestess lady, the one that like keeps erasing his memory, I don't trust her. I think she's lying. I think there's a few different options. I think option 1 is that Aquarium didn't actually kill all these people, that like this priestess lady is somehow responsible and she's just using Aquarium as a scapegoat because like nobody survives, so she could be like, he did it. Or Aquarium did it but at her order, and she doesn't want it to get, that's why she's erasing his memory, because she doesn't want it to get back why he did it. and or in some manner that place was actually terrible and deserved to die. I mean, it's hard to justify murdering children, but like, I don't know, but honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards the second one because I think Malazan is like dark enough that like they would have a heroic character have done something terrible like that. So I'm leaning that way. But yeah, I think the priestess is more involved. Cause like, why else erase his memories? I mean, I guess like the idea is that like, ooh, he's too powerful, and by erasing his memories, it makes him more calm. But like, why would he then? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I really, really love Felicin. Shaik Reborn, whatever she is at this point. She's really fantastic. I'm proud of where she's come, how far she's come. She's got her life together again. She's like, yeah, I'm putting aside revenge in the traditional way. I'm gonna just casually take over this rebellion that's already doing really good. Seems good to me. You know, if you want to get revenge, you might as well go big. And that's what she's doing. Oh my god, the conch shell charm. I had like all but forgotten about that. Like, it was probably like 3-4 weeks ago that I was like thinking about it, like, oh, I wonder what that's about. But like, it's just enough time has passed that I've kind of put that out of my memory, and then bam, payoff. I was just assuming it was like a luck charm, like as long as he was wearing it, as long as Fiddler was wearing it, like it was just a general protection spell type thing. But nah, the thing blew up. So that was really cool. Like, I think it was like just a long enough time for me to be like, oh, I forgot about that, but not long enough for it to feel like it's coming out of nowhere. So good writing, Erikson. All right, on to the next chapter. Quickman lost a lot of what now? Apparently he's bleeding out. It's really unacceptable for Steve to like hint that there's something terrible going on with the bridge burners and then like not let me see them recover. I just don't want to be stuck in this point of view halfway around the world when there is stuff going on with my babes. Crocus is absolutely not to touch a hair on this girl's head. Like, I get it. I get that his girl pus is actually kind of awful. And also kind of technically working for, like, literal Satan, more or less. But, like, you know, I don't care. He entertains me, and I need that. So, like, hands off, Crocus. So that merchant guy showed up. You know, he shows up out of nowhere with not Kalam, Diker. And my immediately thought was, is this Krupa from the last book? But no, it's Carpolin, who I am in love with. He's great. And I apologize for comparing him to Krupa. So chapter 20, forget all these wars and politics. I just want to follow Carpolin. I just want to follow his travels around the world. Like, imagine like magical UPS delivery vibes. I am down. I'm so much more into him than I am about literally anything else that has happened this book. Like, him showing up, single-handedly the most exciting event of this book. Moby, clearly the real hero of this book. I mean, his like sidekick to literal, basically a godhood. Amazing. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. Maybe I did. I looked up fan art of Bokerals, and like I've been picturing them as like cute, like little fuzzy monkeys with wings, like cute. And most of the art is absolutely abhorrent. It's all like, it's more, they're like men, and it's like they are described very specifically as monkeys. So I'm gonna continue picturing them as cute, fuzzy, and like delightful, and not like scary little imp men. So Moby, all hail, guardian of Darujistan, or whatever it is now. Not Darujistan, whatever the city is. Good for him. I feel like Diker's voice has really changed throughout the audiobook. Like, I'm not gonna go back and check, but I do feel like his voice has gotten deeper and more gravelly over time, and I really think that's like really good on the audiobook narrator to have like done that, to because it's a good storytelling mode of like showing how much he's been through and how he's become worn and jaded over time, and I think that's really good. Notes word for word. I'm lost again. Who's Panic? What's going on? Oh, right, the boy on Apt. I I still don't really understand what's going on with Apt and this boy, but like I recognize that the boy was the one that was riding on Apt's back, and Apt's his mother. Apt's a woman. I don't really know. But that's that. Oh, there's what's her name? The captain's sister-in-law. I can't remember her name right now. It starts with like an M. And I think that's her on the other boat that was coming behind Kalam's boat, but like it seems really unlikely that she'd be able to get on a boat that was following Kalam, because like Kalam didn't even know where his boat was going. Like it like intentionally went where it wasn't supposed to be going. So if that is her on that boat, feels really far-fetched for them to have ended up in the same place, because like that's not even where the boat Kalam got on was supposed to be going. I feel like I should have had more to say about Saw-Keelan like stabbing him in the back, quite literally, well, side, but not really. I don't know. Didn't really have like the I saw it coming feeling, but it also didn't have the oh feeling either. It's kind of just there. Anyway, that's it for now. I am hoping, let's see, how many pages do I have left? Get rid of all of the glossary stuff. I have less than 100 pages left. So I honestly might finish drive or on my commute tomorrow and back. So might finish this tomorrow. Maybe, but probably only one update for you guys. So let's see you back here with my final thoughts. All right, it has been like 70 some days, but I did it. I finished it. I have officially finished Deadhouse Gates by Steven Erikson. Let me tell you my final thoughts, and then I'll decide if I'm going to drive and return this tonight or just deal with the late fees this weekend. Yeah, let me give you my thoughts from my notes, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts for the book. Every throne is an arrow butt. That was the start of chapter, what was that, 21? What exactly does that mean, Kellenbend? It's not a word. Well, I mean, it is. It's a series of words, but like, what? What? I'm really liking Haborik and Felicen's dynamic again, now that like Felicen has figured herself out a little bit more. I'm really liking their dynamic. He seems to have finally gained some respect for her, which was the main thing frustrating me about his side of things, is that he just seemed to dismiss her so much and look down on her, and now he's finally seeing her as somebody that could be an equal to him, which was really good to see. Maybe he's a little scared of her even. I'm not going to complain. She's also being less cruel to him, and I realized that her cruelty to him was like a projection of everything going on with her. Like it was very much her hurting people, you know? So it was really nice to see her become a little less bitter and therefore be less cruel to him. It was really, really nice to see. They're just such an interesting pair that have been through so much together, and I really like the arc they have gone on as a pair. I guess I maybe did develop some emotional connection to Diker and Coltane in their group. I did not think I had, but Coltane's last stand there outside of whatever the name of the city was actually weirdly emotional. Like Liz dying hurt, and I was not expecting that. I'm on the train in the morning, like trying to get to work, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna cry? Am I gonna cry on this Tuesday morning? Spoiler alert, I cried Tuesday afternoon at work, but that's neither here nor there. That's completely unrelated to this book. I'm going through a lot right now. Anyway, and then watching the whole thing, knowing that like they could have been saved if what's his name, the general guy, had just been a little less cowardly, a little less dumb, and even finding out that like afterwards that like he had a spy, somebody influencing a traitor, influencing him, doesn't even really absolve him later. I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but like, I don't know, he's just awful. He's very self-serving, and I only care about myself, so it was like still awful. Yeah, I definitely didn't expect to be as affected by that as I was. So it was nice that I was. It kind of snuck up on me. It also definitely did not, in the end, endear me to Malazan as a nation. It actually, if anything, made the Empire look worse, because they promote people that do stuff like this, ignore their comrades dying. Kalam is absolutely terrifying. I really wish we got to see more from him doing that kind of cool assassin stuff, sneaking through the shadows, killing people before they could kill him. Really wish we got more of that from him and less of the weird slogging through the desert parts. You know, I just think it would have been cool to see some of that. There's some really, really beautiful parallel imagery used, switching between the point of views. First you get Fiddler seeing like the horizon stretch on forever, and he's imagining how they're getting smaller and smaller, and so in the insignificance of a human life, right? And then you immediately go from that to Diker's point of view, where Diker is trying to push his emotions away, and his emotions are getting further and further and further away, making him smaller and smaller. I don't know, there was something about those passages back to back that were really beautiful to me, and I really enjoyed them. I don't tend to speak too much on the writing itself, but this was actually one of those times that stood out to me as this is really lovely. Getting close to the end here. Manala rescuing Kalam as if he's some damsel in distress might be my new favorite part of the book. Her showing up on a stallion's back, shooting members of the Claw. Ugh, I love her. I love her so much. I knew Himkarium hadn't really murdered a whole city. I knew. I called it. But now I'm really confused about what the purpose of all of it was, and I think immediately after I typed this, it kind of explained a little bit that, like, Ikarium was too powerful to just let roam free, so they needed something to, like, trap him, but they couldn't just, like, trap him, so that's where the whole memory wiping thing is, but I'm still very confused about why the city had to die in the first place. That part I don't know. You know, honestly, Mappo and Ikarium have big romance energy, you know, enemies to friends to lovers. You got the whole, like, I don't know, there's something about them that's cute. It's cute and tragic, and I love Mappo and Ikarium. Definitely favorite pair in this entire series. There's a lot of really good book. I'm going to call it for the whole series. I don't care who else shows up. Mappo and Ikarium. I love them. I love them so much. So this didn't end up happening, but I did. There was a moment I was very panicked that Manala was going to die when they're fighting the Claw, and then they get to, and then on their way out after the was it after the palace? Yeah, after Kalam meets with Not Lasine, and on their way out they're fighting everybody before Fiddler and them showed up. There was a genuine moment I thought Manala was going to die, and I'm like, if they fridge this poor, I guess it's not really fridge. If they kill her, I was going to be mad. I was going to be furious. Doesn't seem like she died, so I think we're okay. My next thing is just, like, Kalam giving up, and Fiddler by extension. I mean, it was always Kalam's thing, but Fiddler also just kind of accepted it, that Kalam just gave up on killing Lasine. So when he was in the room with her, I thought he was, like, planning on coming back. He was like, oh, she's not really here. This is just bait. This was just fake. I'm gonna regroup. I'll find her again and kill her. And I thought maybe that was going to be a through line of these books, was the bridge burners wanting revenge on her. But no. One conversation, he's just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna retire. Me and Manala, we're gonna go retire to the countryside, take this wish and go settle down. And it's like, what was the point then? Like, it's been a long time since I felt such an anticlimactic ending. And I know it's not the ending of the series, but also the series doesn't really seem to have an overarching plot. I'll talk about that when I get to my final thoughts. So, like, what was the point? We just followed not only Kalam, but Fiddler and Crocus and Apsalar and Manala, all of them for the sole purpose of getting revenge and killing Lasine, only for Kalam to have one conversation with not even her and be like, you know what? You're right. What you said makes sense. I'm not going to kill you. I didn't like that. Like, what was the point? I just don't get the point of it. It's just, and maybe this feeling is the point. Maybe, like, it's meant to be this anticlimactic ending. Maybe it's supposed to make you feel this way. Maybe you're supposed to think it was a mistake. I don't know. But right now I'm just upset about it. Not to be the person being like, yes, revenge is good. He should do the revenge. But also, like, I just read an entire book about him doing the revenge, only for him to get to the revenge and then say, nah. I'm not happy about it. Anyway, also, with that wish thing, does this mean Crocus is out of the rest of the series because him and Apsalar just, like, wish to go home and chill? Does that mean I don't have to deal with... But if that means I don't have to deal with Crocus, it probably means I also don't get Kalam anymore, and that's... Is that trade worth it? Honestly, Crocus wasn't too bad this book. I mean, in the beginning, I know he was doing a lot of the controlling Apsalar's life thing, but he chilled out by the end, so maybe. I don't think that's worth a trade. Mappo meeting Stormy's band is everything I needed from this book. All my favorite people in one place, except it was, again, very short. I have to guess he is setting Stormy and his group and Gessler up to be, like, bigger characters later in the series, because they got way too much page time. Not too much page time. There was too much significance put on what was going on with them for them not to become important. And for them to continually pop up. Like, they could have just had that stuff with whoever it was. Oh my god, who was it? He died a while ago. The guy. Whatever his name is. And Boric and Felicen, like, could have just had that point with them. And then had them move on and split. But then they brought him back up with Diker's point of view. And they brought them back up with Mappo's point of view. And that just feels significant enough that I'm thinking, I know a backdoor pilot for a spinoff series when I see one. And it gives spinoff series vibes. Oh, okay. And then the last little bit is that that crystal thing that was given to Coltane, that Coltane gave to Diker. I thought it was some sort of protective charm that, like, my assumption was you crush it last minute and it does, like, a concussive blast that, like, kills everybody around you and you survive, right? But I guess it's more of a phylactery, which is neat. So I guess Diker's gonna be back, I guess. These weird not Bokeral imp things have decided they're gonna put his soul back in his body. That's fine, I guess. I don't know. And then Coltane, too. There's that whole scene at the end with the woman and her baby doesn't have a soul, and, you know, this whole, like, gonna be a stillbirth thing, and then the crows appearing. Now, my assumption was this was going to be Felicen, because Felicen talked about when she became Shaik Reborn, she talked about how I'm going to have a daughter, I'll name her Felicen. And now whether I initially thought she was actually pregnant. And then I thought when they were having the scene that maybe this was going to be Felicen's soul, because now Shaik has Felicen's body. But I do think the soul that's in Felicen's body is still Felicen. She has just been ascended. I don't want to use the word ascension because that's, like, a different thing. But she has become Shaik Reborn insofar as she has been blessed by whatever the goddess is that Shaik was following. So I think it's almost Shaik became almost more of a title for her, but it's still Felicen. And she might actually be pregnant. And if I had to guess, it's with what's-his-name's kid. Because that was the last person we saw her have sex with. Although that was a little gross, so I don't know. But so I'm guessing this crow thing, because they made a big deal about the crows with Coltane's death, I'm guessing this is Coltane. But I don't think Coltane will actually be back because this is a baby. But then again, Tattersail's in a baby, so who knows? I don't know. So that's my thoughts. Final book thoughts. So this series, the book as a whole, I gave a 3.75. This is a massive improvement on this first book. I really did like this a lot more than the first book. Mostly, I think I was more attached to the characters. I also could just follow the story better. That said, I still don't get the point of the series. And so, like, every time I'm picking up a book, it's hard to convince myself to pick up the next book because I'm not invested in the series. I was invested in this book. I was invested in what was happening in this book. But everything that was happening in that book was resolved. I guess we don't really we didn't get the end for Felicen and not Lassim. What's Felicen's sister's name? Devora. I guess we didn't get their final conflict, but, like, I was comfortable with that being a loose thread that didn't get wrapped up in the book. You know, there's, like, definitely these threads, but, like, there were threads at the end of the first book that didn't get tied up, but they certainly weren't continued in this book at all. Not that I can remember. Then again, I don't really remember much of the first book at this point. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know whether to continue or not, you know? I think I will, maybe. But but not right away. I'll probably take like another 6 months, kind of like I did for this, mostly because these books take me 2.5 months to read. And yeah, we'll see. But let me know below what you think, if you think I should keep going. If based on my reaction to this book, you think I'm going to like the series overall. Now, I definitely have heard like the first book is rough, which is why I did not feel uncompelled, why I felt okay picking up the second book, even though I didn't love the first book. But based on where I am at the end of the second book, do you think it's worth continuing in the series for me? Because right now I'm really on the fence, just because I just don't know the point. I don't understand the point of this series. And I need something to make it feel like there's a point. I need something. I love Akarium. Can we have more of Akarium? I really liked Akarium and Mappo. This girl Pust is still around, actually. I think he's living in a cave with a woman now. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to end this, and that's that. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe so you can see more from me. Love y'all. Bye.